Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host Evan Teagle, looking like oh, this is my super friend Noah Bailey. So, after many years of talking and waiting and anticipating and just needing a new good Superman movie to come out, we've both finally seen James Gunn's Superman, and we're here to review it today. And I am extremely curious to hear what your thoughts are about this movie. So, just general, minimum spoilers. Just, what are your general thoughts about it?
I
Yeah.
mean, it feels a lot more like a Superman movie than anything we have gotten in a long time, which I
Mm.
really appreciate because Superman feels like a hero for a lot of it, and that's the important. Like he's out here, we're saving squirrels, y'all. You know what I mean? That's all you
Yeah.
need to know. Like, you know what I mean? We're saving squirrels, not even jokingly. We're saving squirrels. We're making sure we're checking buildings. We're catching things. We're doing all the Superman stuff while fighting kaijus and superpower beings and all this stuff. I really like that they really go into his personal character of like he really just wants to help people. He is trying to do the right thing with these powers. He doesn't fully understand everything, but he knows what's right, what's wrong, and how to do it. And that's Superman. He's just people were gonna die. I was doing the right thing. Like I don't work for you. I don't work for the government. I don't work for the president. I'm just here to make things right. And that's Superman, and I really like that.
Yeah, I think nearly everything about Superman, the character Superman specifically, worked pretty much flawless through the entire movie. I like how at pretty much every single stage he is either saving people or inspiring others or just always doing what he thinks is right. Um, and it just like it's corny, but by the end of it, like this movie genuinely made me feel hopeful. Like,
Yeah.
um, um, how, however, I kind of feel like, and maybe it's just because my anticipation for this movie was higher than almost any other movie since Across the Spider Verse. Probably, I can't think of another one I was more anticipated for. Um,
Like No Way Home, maybe.
but that was before Across. But like, yeah, Across the Spider Verse came out in 2023. That was
Yes.
21.
I was thinking Into the Spider-Verse. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, like I'm pretty sure Across the Spider Verse is the only movie in recent memory I was maybe more anticipated for. Um, Maybe it's just because I was like so overly hyped for it. But, like walking out of the theater, me and my brother were kind of like we were like trying to find words to say our exact thoughts about it, and like the first word out of my mouth were like, "This is good."
Yeah.
Like I was like flipping hard between like a 7 and an 8. Like I enjoyed almost every aspect of it. It just didn't wow me like I was hoping it would. Which I don't know exactly like what specifically could have been changed to do that for me, but just especially compared to other James Gunn movies, which I don't even care about the Guardians of the Galaxy all that much, especially before 2014. But like I kind of feel like Guardians 2 and especially 3 just had that it factor that this just didn't quite have for me. And again, it could just be because I wasn't as anticipated. I didn't have nearly as high expectations for those movies. I just kind of went in expecting them to be good, and they were. This I was like hoping would meet expectations that were possibly even too lofty for anybody to meet. But it still is significantly better than most of the other DC movies we've gotten over the past while.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those movies though. I have hope because it felt like one of those movies that it starts out and you're like, okay, we can grow from here. Essentially,
Yes.
There's a lot of core things I like about it, and while not everything that happened in this movie I was a big fan of,
Yeah.
a lot of things I was like, I want to see more of this. I really want to see more of that. I'm glad that they're really leaning into this.
Yeah.
Like, I need. Oh.
But I am incredibly excited for the future of DC after watching this. However, ironically, after watching this movie, I almost kind of wish we had seen like what led up into this movie, because many times throughout this movie, I'm thinking like, oh, Superman's already been doing this for 3 years. There's this, there's this conflict happening in the Middle East or wherever that like Superman has been involved in. It specifically said that Superman just lost his first fight ever, and then we don't really ever get a chance to really see how Superman feels about that. We don't really know how exactly how exactly him dealing with that Moravia conflict happened. Like we got a passing comment during his interview with Lois about him taking the leader of Moravia and like sticking him to a cactus, which was a funny comment. I just kind of wish we had actually scenes like a flashback or just a quick little like montage like during that interview of like you know you just showing just like little snippets of what happened. I think could have even just helped contextualize a little better, just make that scene just flow a little better maybe. Um, and that's not even just a problem with the past. There were a couple of other times throughout the movie where I just kind of felt like that things just kind of happen and Superman just kind of like shows up. Like the kaiju was released at night, which I don't even know where the kaiju came from. I guess the interdimensional.
He just has one.
He has one. Like I can accept a lot if you set it up well enough that he just kind of has a kaiju. Okay, whatever. But then, like the very next scene, it's already the size of a skyscraper, and Superman's just kind of has he been fighting it this whole time? Did he just now show up to save that dog? I would have liked to see more of the build up to it actually growing, and with having Superman, maybe try to have to like kind of learn how why it's growing, how it grows, and kind of take it, try to like get it away from an area like maybe it's like grows in water or pain makes it grow or something. But there are other examples like that, but just something about the pacing just didn't quite feel good to me.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where like I understand we're getting thrown in 3 years in, but stuff just being there that we just don't explain for a lot of part is kind of rough because it's like I was the whole pocket dimension thing where I was like that was doing too much.
I liked half of it. I liked the part like the like jail that was in the pocket dimension. I like the idea of that. That feels very Lex Luthor-y. But then like the river of antimatter or whatever that was that like led to a black hole, that felt a little weird. I get that Superman was kind of depowered, but I wasn't sure why he couldn't just fly out of it. I at least appreciate him remembering eventually that he does have laser vision. Eventually. But like it's that like because of just how it was done. I mean, they kept cutting back to Mr. Terrific and Lois, like trying to find them. I felt like that scene just lasted a little longer than it needed to. And also, kind of in that similar vein, I liked Crypto a lot. I think just the CG on that dog looked incredible. Like most of the time, I forgot it was a CG dog. I liked like how Crypto was utilized throughout the movie. I just feel like most of the scenes with Crypto also just kind of lasted a little too long. Like I get he's being accused, Superman can take the roughhousing, but it just feels like Crypto shows up, time for a joke. That's like 30 seconds. I'm like, we don't have time for that right now. Also, the fact that Superman's been Superman for 3 years, I don't have a problem with that. I just kind of wish we had some kind of context as to what has Superman been up to for 3 years. because we know that he's never lost a major fight before. We know that Luthor, at some point during his fight for those 3 years, has somehow collected part of his hair to then, you know, clone Ultraman later, which is not a spoiler. That's very obvious. It's always going to happen. I feel like if we had seen like articles showing like, oh, Superman takes down the Toy Man, Metallo terrorizes downtown, like, just there's like 3 years is a lot of time for most of Superman's Rose Gallery to be mentioned at some point. And I don't know, I feel like this is the kind of movie that would have benefited from a little montage of just seeing what he's been up to. See him fighting live wire, see him like just random alien, or just because when he
even if there was like a scene where it's like looking at like Clark or Lois's past articles, and it's like Superman, who is Superman? Superman, there's the mystery man saves falling plane.
Yeah.
Who is Superman? Like Superman takes down crazy threat. You know what I mean? Like just if you could see that, and like even if it was like a just kind of an in the background thing, I feel like that would have given a little more context.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel because they work in a newspaper company, I feel that would have been a nice framing device, especially since I feel like Lois is the kind of person to frame her pictures of, or like put her headlines on in frames like that. Like, again, I don't have an issue with him being around for 3 years. I just wish it was
more shown.
Yeah, especially since like we're 3 years in and he's just now meeting Lex Luthor. That also seems a little unrealistic. I would have liked to see, or at least get some kind of, or some kind of, mention some capacity, like when Lex Luthor first, learned of Superman, how he reacted to that, how things have changed in Metropolis from his perspective since Superman showed up. We kind of didn't really get that, and which I'm not all trying to take away from this Lex Luthor at all, because I think Nicholas Hoult did an incredible job as Lex Luthor. He was maybe like, if not my favorite, one of my favorite parts of this entire movie. Do you not really like his Luthor?
Wait, what?
I said this. Nicholas Hoult did a great Lex Luthor.
No, yes.
Okay, good. Yes. Sorry.
No. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. No. I thought, I didn't hear what you said. No. First of all, I love Luthor because he's an absolute monster. Like,
yes.
I was like, good. Like, he's not like, oh, I'm just a bit, like, no, he is like, I don't care who knows it. I am the worst. And I don't care. And because I'm smarter than everybody. Like, that was it was very in character. He's an egomaniacal monster. He's an ultimate hater. He's obsessed with Superman to the point where he studies hours of film on Superman, which probably takes so long because you have to probably slow it down so much.
Yeah.
To even get a glimpse of what he's doing at that speed. And then he's like calling out moves like, oh, A1, A1, A1. Like, doing all.
Yeah, the fact that 1A is just like the first one he made was just punch in the face. Like, that's so funny.
Like that's such a hater move. Like, you would just feel how much he hates this guy. Like, just insane. Like, I love how much they put it, and like how the other ways of showing how petty he is. Like, oh, his ex-girlfriend, he just locks her in a pocket dimension. Oh, this person wrote a blog about me. Boom, pocket dimension. Yep. Oh, this person did. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like
this person.
It's so evil.
Yeah, this person after Superman got knocked down helped him back up. Find out who the guy is. We're gonna kill him later. It's like, what?
He doesn't like a Bond villain. He does the Russian roulette, and he's like, I thought that was just longer than 2. And I'm like, oh my God.
In the trailers, I thought he had a kryptonite bullet he was going to threaten to shoot Superman with. No, this is worse somehow.
No, no, this was so much worse. He just casually tortures Superman, murders an innocent man in front of him like it's a Tuesday. I was like, wow, you've done this many times, haven't you? That's horrible.
Yeah, it's like, God, it's usually more than two. Like, that's so funny.
Oh my gosh, like, oh, I did not expect that to go on two. He's like, huh. All right, well.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny just because, like, it's so right, you know. It's just like, yeah, that's Lex Luthor. He's maniacal, he's bald, he's evil, he thinks he's the greatest person in the universe, and the fact that Superman exists makes him so angry it hurts.
Yes, like,
I love it.
The only knock I can possibly give on this Luthor is the fact that he didn't get into his big dumb green suit by the end of this movie. We'll get there eventually, hopefully, but like, he needs to get into that dumb suit at some point.
Well, I was thinking that, like, the suit they had, like, you know, Ultraman or whatever in was gonna be like the template suit, and then, like, eventually Lex was gonna get in it and like that, because it looks big and bulky like that.
Yeah, I also saw someone say, like, oh, it would have been cool if the Hammer of Arabia was a robot that Luthor was piloting. Like, it's kind of like a pseudo version of the suit. That could have been cool, but yeah, like, him calling out fighting game commands was also very funny.
Yes.
But also, like, but because he did study him so intensely, that makes it even weirder knowing that they had never met before. I feel like that hatred can only really come from you, like, knowing who this guy is.
I disagree, because, again, Luthor doesn't hate Superman because of, like, something he said. He hates Superman because he exists. Like, he literally just doesn't like that there is an alien superpowered being that has all the power in the world and chooses to help people. One, he hates him because no matter what he does, he can't be better than him. And two, he hates him because everyone loves him more. And they're so, you know what I mean? It's like everyone's so distracted by how great Superman is, no one realizes the genius of Lex Luthor. You know, it's like, so I don't think they necessarily have to meet for him to be this level of hatred for him. I think he just hates that he exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. One little detail I absolutely love is, the first time they meet, Superman kicks in his door and, like, walks over to his desk, and Luthor is just chill, like he's not worried at all. And then the climax, after Superman beats Ultraman, Luthor is, like, walking towards the portal. He looks to his right and he's like, oh, it starts, like, running. He's like, oh no, Superman's coming.
I think the funniest part, he doesn't say a word to anybody. He's
like, I'm just gonna get out of here.
He's like, well, time to run. Yeah, because this time he knows, like, yeah, Superman, I murdered the guy in front of Superman. He's probably going to kill me this time.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of discussion about, like, oh, how is this Luthor gonna get out of jail? Like, this, I was thinking this would be a Luthor, like, that could, like, run for president. Like, first of all, that's funny. Second, like, I would not be surprised if, like, Luthor always has a way of, like, squirming his way out of jail. If this Luthor is like, oh, I was thrown in jail because a reporter used a disgruntled employee as a source, and the only other person that could corroborate my the story was, dropped to death by another hero. It's like, they got nothing on me.
Yeah.
I could easily see that.
Like Luthor, I mean, he's so rich, he'll get out, he'll be fine.
Yeah, even if they don't go that way, like, yeah, he could buy his way out, no problem. He knows people in the government, like, he'll be fine.
Luthor, yeah, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, like, especially going to Belgrade specifically, like, him and Waller are usually tightly, start off tight, so I think he'll be fine. Speaking of other superheroes, I kind of question that opening bit of being like, 3,000 years ago, metahumans evolved on this planet, and, like, 30 years ago, Kryptonian landed. 3 years ago, he became Superman. Well, like, I really liked that. It's pretty solid world building. However, 3,000 years ago kind of feels like not enough time for a lot of the heroes that I have in mind to like develop, because if they are going to be following the comics at least semi closely, in the comics, Vandal Savage is considered the first ever meta, and he's like at least 50,000 years old. So
Yeah.
I feel like he like basically was Genghis Khan. He was like every great you know
Mm-hmm.
person throughout history. So, and he's had children around, like he was the progenitor of pretty much every mutant. So I feel it's a little weird to say 3,000. I feel like 30,000 would have put in a better ballpark.
I
Um,
mean, to be fair, just because he was around doesn't mean people knew he was around. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess. Like I don't know. I just think if they had said 30,000, I wouldn't have a problem at all. But three just feels a
Yeah,
little a
no.
little too recent. Like that's I feel like Roman era, Like, I don't know. I agree. Well, it's like not that long ago. Um, but yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's just it's something that if they do end up doing some other stories down the line, they might have to kind of either ignore that or retcon it, or yeah, just be like, oh, they didn't know that I was actually before then. But it's
Right.
still it led for it made a good image to have those like increments of three going down. Like that was still very good. Um, I still do kind of question Superman losing his first fight only 3 minutes ago. Like at no point he ever really struggled at any like the very first time you went out of Superman, you won. That seems a little a little wrong, but like, you never fought Parasite. Parasite usually beats you at least once, but whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, moving over to the other heroes. Nathan Fillion absolutely killed it as Guy Gardner.
He's extremely accurate, Guy Gardner,
Mm, like
and funny.
yes, and I love the little detail where he's like, I can't do that. It goes against the code. I'm like, what code? And Hawkgirl's like, anything he doesn't want to do is goes against his code. Like, that's so. It just like it just like every single thing he said is just the most annoying, just the most antagonistic thing he could do, and just like that is absolutely who Guy Gardner is, and I love
Yeah.
that. Hot Girl should have done more. Like
Existed more.
yeah, she had like maybe three lines of dialogue of the
She didn't
entire
really.
movie.
I mean, she didn't really do anything. I mean, she kind of helped with the fighting a little bit, but she was
Little
definitely the least like involved by a large margin.
yeah.
She was kind of just there because they needed a third person, apparently.
I mean, I don't mind them using her. I just feel like I don't know what all she could have done, but I feel just let her do or say more. um,
Yeah.
but but
Yeah, but ah.
it's not a huge deal. I mean, she's one of those characters that I guarantee is going to be in more DC stuff in the future. So I mean, you know for a fact she's going to at least show up in a little bit in the next Peacemaker season. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not worried about her, being like a one and done, underutilized character. I think she'll be used a lot more. But a character who was utilized a lot in this movie, and I think will absolutely be used more, is Mr. Terrific.
Dude, Terrific was awesome. I liked
Yeah.
when they like Terrific was the guy who was saying what everyone else was thinking, like all the like, oh, get your dog, bro. Like,
We have to stop this. Yeah, I'm trying. What do you think I'm doing?
so yeah, no, it just really and it's all but also accurate. Where he's he's a genius. He's very much
Mhm.
capable of fixing the whole like dimensional rift thing. They're probably like, "Here, you'll need my help. I don't need your help. Move."
Apparently, the actor like pushing that guy's face was unscripted. And James Gunn loved it so much, like we can do that.
Perfect. That's even better. Yeah, because it's like, yeah, it's like, yo, he's like, yeah, no, comic accurate. He does not need your help. Like,
Yeah.
move out of the way.
And like, I really liked his characterization. I think the actor did a fantastic job. Like, you need a redemption after what they did to Darwin back in First Class. Your first chance to do something, the characters that can't die, they kill you. It's like,
yes,
great. So I'm so glad this actor actually got a chance to do something. However, let me know if you disagree with this completely, but it's a James Gunn movie, so there's going to be at least one scene where it's it's a tracking shot of someone or many people doing something really, really cool to some song. That always happens. And that was Mr. Terrific's scene in this movie. And am I wrong for being like slightly underwhelmed by that sequence?
No, because it was like, I mean, it was cool, but again, like in a Superman movie, Terrific doing flips and kicking people and hitting them with T-spears isn't as cool as Superman like doing stuff.
Yeah. Whereas like the Yondu sequence from Guardians 2, we already have grown to love Yondu. Not that we don't like Mr. Terrific, but like he's not as established as Yondu. I feel his arrow is more visually interesting than the T-spears.
Yeah.
The song they play was personally, I think, better. Groot was also there doing stuff as well. It just something about the way that the Mr. Terrific scene was framed, since it was like mostly from Lois's perspective, which is a change of pace, which I didn't mind necessarily. But also, since we didn't really know like who he was fighting, I guess it was like a bunch of Luthor goons, but there were also these like people with clipboards running at him. Like, were they seem less less armed than these other guys? Like, are they really a threat? Like, do you have to hit him hit him with a spear, like, shotgun? Like,
I guess. I don't know. They all felt like they all gave like intern vibes.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, did Luthor just promise a bunch of college credit to these like random kids to help him destroy the world? Like,
yeah. So I like it was a cool scene. I just like when it was happening, like, oh, this is that scene for this movie. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that scene maybe should have gone to the entire Justice Gang or Superman himself, or which the Superman kind of got one later, but like it was in a different context. But
yeah,
I don't know. I
feel like that would have been better when their Justice Gang showed up at the like war. That probably would have fit better.
Yeah, that would have been neat, but that was still a very fun action scene. Like, seeing that guy just flip with all this tank, seeing that morpho,
hilarious like, projections.
Yes. Yeah. One other like probably only like the real like last like real negative I have for the movie is I really like Clark. I really like Lois. I really like almost every single character. Well, sorry. I really like Superman. I really like Lois. I really like Luthor. I really like almost every single character in the movie. I was a little disappointed that Clark Kent wasn't in the movie more. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of Clark at all.
Him and Jimmy Olsen only really had one scene together. Like Clark was only at the Daily Planet that one time. Like and because he later that day turned himself in, went to the pocket dimension, then rested on the Kent farm, and then flew back to Metropolis from there during the climax. Like he just didn't really get to spend a lot of time with the other planeteers, whatever, the other people at the planet. I feel like Superman and Jimmy didn't have a single interaction at all. And one thing about Jimmy I like so much is that he's a friend of Clark and Jimmy. Clark and Superman doesn't know that they're the same person. Like Jimmy had a watch on, but it was, and I feel like it was at least a nod to the fact that he has that super watch. But I kind of wish, they could have had a scene of him either using it or like saying he can use it, or Sin and Jimmy talking once. I don't know when it would have happened, but I don't know. Just like Superman's connection to the actual Superman cast, I felt even Clark doing anything could have been a little stronger.
Yeah, I agree. It felt very like, I understand a lot of it's supposed to be implied, but I also kind of want to see you do it a little bit.
Yeah, because currently there wasn't a single scene of Perry White like wondering where Clark was. That seems like a pretty standard staple for these kinds of movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
Superman was in the pocket
Worst.
dimension and then was resting at the Kent farm for a day and a half at least. Like when Perry was ushering people to come with Lois to the ship, like I feel that would have been a perfect moment to be like, where's Kent? And Lois be like, oh, he already left or something. Like I feel that would have been a perfect moment to have a scene like that, but instead it just wasn't there at all. I also wouldn't be surprised if there was a part of the script that had Lois and the other people from the Daily Planet doing something during the climax. I don't know what it would have been, but then just kind of hovering over the city in the T car or whatever it was for the entire climax just felt like. I guess they wrote the article.
I
They
mean,
could
to
have done
be
that anyway.
fair, yeah, it's like you couldn't like land because like the world was splitting in half, I guess,
No, but like
reasons.
I don't know, maybe like surely that T car has guns and other weapons and like stuff on it. Surely you could have like been you've been like attacked by some of Luthor's goons, like fight them off, or just have them be able to do something during that
Yeah.
scene. But
Yeah, but
it's not,
did you? I mean, yeah, but also, I mean, the final climax. Do we really want to be seeing like what the peanut gallery's up to?
like not necessarily, but since they do cut back to them kind of frequently during that sequence, I kind of feel like they should be doing something, not just kind
Fair
of sitting
enough.
there worried about Superman. I don't know.
No, that's fair. That's fair. No, I do have issue though
Mm-hmm.
with so the scene where at that scene at night where like that poster scene came from where it's like
Oh,
Lois and Clark are just like making up and this and that and there's just a monster going crazy. It's like,
it's
oh, so
just a
he really
dimensional
just
limp.
got it. I'm like, no. What? No, get out there. What are you doing? Like, oh, they
I
got it. No, they don't. What are you?
I'm kind of torn on that because you're absolutely right. It was literally just established in the previous scene that the Justice Gang have do not know how to do crowd control. They don't know how to take
No.
something down safely. Like,
And he knows that and is not okay with that, as we
yeah,
just established.
and maybe Superman is it's been 3 years. Like weird stuff happens in Metropolis all the time, which is why I'm like more okay with it because Metropolis is prone to like monsters and interdimensional demons and stuff like that all the time. However, yeah, I personally also wouldn't trust Hot Girl and Guy Gardner like they did end up taking it, like it was fine, but
I was like, no. I have serious issue that Superman would just be like, nah, they got it. In my own city, no less.
yeah, I do kind of have to struggle with the fact that if that had happened in Man of Steel or BVS, we absolutely would have raked him over the
Yes.
coals for it.
Yes. Like I had like
Yeah.
I felt so yeah, I had issue with that. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was
Mm.
one of the moments where I was like, that was a misstep for sure.
Like I kind of get what they're going for, but if it were like on the TV or if Lois came and Superman was like flying away from it and Guy Gardner had already captured it and taken it to space and then Lois asked like
Yes.
what was that? Oh, just a dimensional lip. No problem. Like
Yeah, like
yeah.
if it had already been subdued and they were taking it away, or just don't have anything in the background for that scene because it's not like they really talked about it for more than a second. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. That felt very unnecessary to me, and it made Superman's character a little inconsistent, which I did not like.
yeah. Like he's willing to fly halfway across the world to stop a war he, like, quote
Not
unquote,
even
shouldn't be involved
involved.
in. But then something is happening in his city. Like,
It's like, oh,
yeah,
they got it. It's not. It's like, hey, I'm off the clock. Like, huh?
you're still not in your suit. Like you're not. But okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you're fully suited up. You can clearly see it from your window, and you're just kind of like, nah, they got it. Like,
Yeah.
like
No.
that. No, that makes no sense. But
yeah. I'm curious what your thoughts are about the message from his parents, like the Kryptonian
yeah,
parents.
yeah, I don't know about that. Like that was kind of weird. I mean, I legitimately thought it was like I didn't believe it at all. I was like, oh, Luthor fixed it, and then it was like, oh no, it's been confirmed. I'm like, I still don't believe that. Like I don't. I think Lex still messed with it. I don't know if that's the intention, but that feels like something Lex could have somehow figured out to make it.
I mean, Luthor did tell the Bravian president and by extension the audience that it was not fake, but I almost kind of don't really care because his his Kryptonian parents don't matter nearly as much as his living human parents.
Correct.
Yes. And like that's clearly established by the fact that in the beginning of the movie, him listening to the first half of the message is the thing that like helped him be, calm him down. And then in the end, which was an amazing parallel, him watching like that
Him growing up, and
yeah,
that was really cool.
and the fact that at the beginning, like the message is playing, but like the sun healing him is like physically hurting him to and then at the end he's taking a sun bath and he's content the entire time. Like I think that's really good storytelling there. But I could understand comic purists, especially people who were a big fan of how Jor-El was handled in previous Superman stuff. You know, him both sides of his parentage, like giving him important life lessons. Like I could understand that, but also the 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 mom and pop Ken stuff in this movie is so good. I don't really care about what his Kryptonian parents had to say because I absolutely loved the Kents. Like, they were glorious.
The fact that they only have one contact as Ma and Pa is so like it's amazing.
I mean, my
like that's like everybody's grandparents. Like
it's just grandparents' cell phone. Like that's just what it is.
Yes, literally. And then when she's yelling at the speakerphone, like
I felt people try to complain that like this movie made them look like dumb hicks. I'm like, no, they're like 65, 70, they're old. Like every single time I go over to my grandparents' house, my grandpa is always asking me to fix something on his phone. It's just like a setting he accidentally turned off or something.
Yeah. I was like waiting for the like, oh, I'm so glad you're home. We've been waiting to get this like tractor tire replaced for your last visit. Like like I don't know, man. It's just like no, that felt so good. And they were funny too. Like they were cracking me up, just like classic old people stuff and oh man. Just and of course, as usual, they give the heart-to-heart advice, and he doesn't say let people die, so that's good. So,
he said maybe. He didn't say to actually let them die. Like no, like like no, like it's you're human. Humans make mistakes. Like it's as parents, it's our job to give you all the tools to to make mistakes because you're human. Like that's just what living's all about. Like that's a good message.
A great message.
And I think the very stark difference between the message his dad, Pa Ken gave him in that movie, and what Ma Ken gave him in BVS, which I I tried my best at this point to not like, compare them directly, but I feel like this is very poignant. Um, what Martha told him in BVS was, be the hero all the people want you to be, or none of it. You don't deserve. They don't deserve a thing. It's like you're telling Superman in this time of crisis and confusion that you don't actually owe these people anything. So like that's not really a good message. Like that's a technically sage advice for Superman, I guess, technically, but also I feel that wouldn't, if I were Superman and I were in this crisis of faith, that message wouldn't really mean anything to me because, like, oh, you're telling me I can either help or not by choice, but I came to you for help, and you're just telling me that, like, okay, that's a little confusing. Whereas what Pa Kent told him in this movie, I feel is much more applicable to everybody. So I just feel like it's also what Superman really needed to hear in that moment. I just think that scene was done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they did a really good job of kind of making it like real but simple at the same time. Just I mean, obviously we raised you to be the best we could, but it's also like, you're your own person.
Yeah.
And
and just the fact that like throughout the movie, Superman came to realize like it doesn't matter. I don't remember who said this, but like it doesn't matter, what the message from your parents actually said. What you wanted it to say matters more than what they actually said. Was it the robot?
Yeah,
somebody said that.
Yeah, that was what's that?
Was it Pa or was it the robot?
I think it was the robots. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Well,
or maybe it was Pa, but that's a great
whoever
point.
said that was very good.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's a great point. It's like the fact that you interpreted that and wanted it to mean help people and take pride in it, that matters more. And that's why it was like I kind of had issue with the people immediately turning on Superman because it was kind of like what?
Yeah.
Again, if Superman had just shown up like a week ago and that came out, that's one thing. But for 3 years now, Superman has been literally saving you from monsters and God knows what else. But now, because of a random video you find on the internet, it's like, oh, Superman's evil. He sucks now. It's like, dude, I mean, now granted, yes, people in the real world are fickle and weird and react poorly. But for the people of Metropolis who had not 5 seconds earlier had been shown to literally think Superman was the best thing that ever happened to the city, immediately turning on him felt very...
It
I understand what they're trying to get across, but it's kind of like, come on, really?
As far as just like the people in the park reacting like that, it is a little unrealistic. However, we live in a day and age where people react on Twitter exactly like that. Someone can be, literally the greatest person on the planet, but like they say they put one tweet out that's like a little controversial, and all of a sudden, like anytime anyone brings them up, it's like, oh no, they're a bad person because they tweeted or retweeted this one thing one time. It's like you need to not do like that is how at least the internet can react to to things. But however, because of that, the fact that everyone just by the end of it, when it was revealed that Luthor actually constructed the entire thing, the fact that they immediately turned on Luthor and Superman's cool now, that's kind of equally as unrealistic.
Yeah.
But the movie had to be over, so you had to like, that I don't know. It is kind of maybe a little indicative of the fact that James Gunn, who is credited as the sole writer of this movie, is kind of very online. Just he tweets a lot. He interacts with people online a lot, and like that's just kind of. I wouldn't be surprised if just by how much he interacts with people online, that just kind of skewed his perception of how people would react to certain things. But I don't know. It would have also been kind of cool if they did those. They did a couple of interviews with people who, like those like on the street interview type things. I don't think any of them were positive about Superman at all. I think they all were negative. If like some were positive, some were negative. Um, or if or if Clark had a chance to go back to the Daily Planet and like hear the people at the Daily Planet talking about it one way or the other. Like I don't know, that could have been something, but because the movie had to kind of rush through a lot of stuff, it didn't really have a lot of time to kind of sit with Superman's feelings about that because he had to immediately rush to to the fortress and then rush back to front of Luthor and then turn himself in and then go from there. Like it just, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of running around, but yeah, I mean, overall, very solid. I had fun. I'm gonna go see it again. Just like
it's definitely one of those movies that weirdly this rarely happens with movies. I rarely walk out of a theater thinking it's one score and then over time I actually kind of raise it a little bit. I think this might end up being one of those movies because like the weekend it came out, Saturday, Sunday, I was like 7.5. I'm definitely like at least 7.5, maybe even 8 at this point. I may have to like see it again and just now that I know what it is and just actually appreciate it for what it is now. It might like it even more. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, I am incredibly excited for Supergirl next summer. I think,
oh yeah,
yeah, I liked her little cameo, like very much so. Woman of Tomorrow, her going to other planets and like partying and getting drunk. Like that's fun.
yeah. I will say wearing a puffy jacket as a Kryptonian makes no sense, but
um, well, okay, you could
it makes the
potentially
most sense.
headcanon it as she spent a lot of time on planets with red suns. So now that she
Oh,
came back to a planet with a yellow sun, um, she had to like it take a little bit of time for her body to adjust to the cold. So she had to put on a jacket.
probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're probably right. I mean, I know it's not that deep, but it's
Yeah,
like, does she fly there herself, or does she have a ship? Or
I imagine she has a ship, but
I
I don't
guess
know.
right because I mean, I assume they can't fly in space, but I
Yeah,
guess it just technically depends on the Superman. To be fair,
yeah,
but
yeah. Like,
I guess the Superman does need oxygen because he almost got like
uh, yeah, oh yeah,
lungs filled
yeah.
up with. We didn't talk about
That's
that.
yeah. We didn't talk about that at all. We need to talk about a lot of that. I think it was bizarre that Mr. Terrific was like there on the baseball field during the climax. You had the engineer like attacking Superman with nanites, and it wasn't Mr. Terrific who solved that issue. It was literally mentioned earlier in the movie that Mr. Terrific has nanites inside of all of his friends for tracking purposes. I feel it would have been fun to like him either
Have a
somehow
Superman nanite.
yeah we have a nanite basically like a red blood cell like, going around and or like whatever blood cell attacks diseases that goes around and like individually like takes out all the nanites that are inside of him or somehow hacks
That
into
would have been
her.
good because we know for a fact Superman has them in him because that was the whole plot point in the first place. So that would have been good.
Yeah.
There's like a defensive. It had like a defensive mechanism in there also. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a great point.
Instead, Superman can just kind of flies up in hopes that the engineer follows him, and then she's like linked to him, so that way when he crashes back down, it knocks her out. That seems a little convoluted. You didn't need to think
Yeah,
that hard. Just have Mr. Terrific do it.
yeah, I didn't really get that. Also, like, I don't know how exactly if cold breath would have worked, but could you just like
Yeah,
I don't know, like
like
as
yeah,
that was
like
happening,
super
couldn't you
fast
just
cold
like
breath or going into your eye, just laser vision. Like this seems a little weird with this
yeah,
guy in this
right?
position at all.
Right? Because it's not like I mean I don't know. That felt kind of. I don't. Also, like dodge. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Just get out of the way.
I mean, not to put the elephant in the room, but it's like you're Superman. That shouldn't hit you. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
but also, I
This
mean,
Superman definitely follows the trend that I honestly kind of think is very funny from the animated versions of the character, where he at
mm-hmm.
any given point forgets he has at least two powers.
Yes. Because again, literally just either super speed out of there, or do freeze breath to make sure that doesn't get in your mouth, laser eyes doesn't get in your eyes,
Mm,
and spin at super speed, like throw them off, anything.
yeah,
I don't know,
it's not whatever.
but
Uh,
yeah, it's bad. But again, I think that's what makes. Believe it or not, though, I think that does make Superman more interesting at times. Because
yeah,
again, if he can just OP everything, then it's kind of like, well, it makes him a lot harder to write in sometimes.
yeah. If Mr. Terrific were somewhere else in the city, doing, helping people or doing something, I wouldn't have even really had this problem. But because he was literally there on the field, no, he was maybe knocked out or something, but like he was there, he could have. I feel it would have been easy just to have him at least try to solve the problem, but it's whatever. Ultraman, I so my mind is also kind of going two different directions with this. One, I feel it would have been the kind of obvious play to kind of, as the fight was happening, make Ultraman kind of degrade a little bit and look more Bizarro-y as it was
Mm-hmm.
happening. Because Lex Luthor even mentioned that the clones are never perfect. This was the best one he could get. So like it seemed right up the alley of whenever Luthor does actually create Bizarro, like you have to have him always like he's getting punches, like his skin kind of gets all wrinkly and you know I don't know, like I think
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
go ahead. No, good.
Like I don't need them to do the whole Bizarro thing where he like shoots ice beams and breathes fire. You don't need to do all that or have him like speak backwards. Like, I don't think you need to do all of that. However, just visually, just make him just like a little gooey by the end of it. But it's not a huge deal, especially if him falling into that black hole does one of two things. Either him falling into that black hole, I guarantee, um, this is not the last time we'll see this Superman clone.
Mm-mm.
Either he falls into that black hole and gets teleported to an alternate dimension, and that dimension is either um, the Bizarro world, Earth,
Yeah.
as Bizarro from the comics either comes from or goes to at some point, or he gets transported to Earth 3, which is the evil Justice League world, where Ultraman is actually
Ooh.
usually from.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. And like this Ultraman's entire purpose in life, you know, this Ultraman is only like a couple of months old. In the like because all this Ultraman has known is hating Superman. Like his entire purpose of building up this, this crime syndicate or whatever, Justice League, whatever they call themselves, their entire purpose is to, invade this Earth with an evil version of the Justice League. I just think
Mm.
that could be really cool if they want to do that. But either
Yeah,
way, I
I
think
like
this
that.
character will come back.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
But no, they're definitely gonna reuse them. I mean, it's like the whole Bizarro thing was right there. So I think that's the obvious move, and I think that's what they're gonna go with.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the whole like injustice, or not injustice, but I guess not justice. I don't know. Was it Justice
Justice
Lords or something
Lords.
like that?
That's
Yeah,
what they're called in the Justice League show. Because crime syndicate's a little on the nose, and I agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, like I know generally black holes are, like you fall into that, you're dead. But maybe this
it's
one is a
comics,
portal to another
man.
dimension. Oh yeah, it's comic books. Who knows? Um, I think there's anything else like.
Mm, Okay. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yep.
yeah. Okay. What did you think about the whole Jimmy and Lex's like
Oh.
girlfriend random thing? Like that?
Um,
Am I missing something, or did that come out of nowhere?
it didn't come out of nowhere, but it definitely it. I I like the fact that this Jimmy Olsen, despite like I like this Jimmy Olsen being an inexplicable ladies' man because that's kind of the thing from the comics. Where like even from the My Adventure with Superman, he just like he meets Supergirl, they immediately fall in love. Like that's so
Yeah.
funny. And there were those like girl interns at the planet that were kind of giggling over him. Like that's like this person that just doesn't really like necessarily want these chicks, but he's getting them anyway. And this like crazy
But then
kind
your
of dumb
partner
one
sees
just
it.
latches onto him, and he's just like not knowing how to deal with that. I think that's funny. However, him being a little mean to her never really felt good.
Yeah, and like
Like I
literally
understand
using
not like
her
not wanting to spend an entire weekend with her. I understand that, not wanting to like
for
commit to
the sake
that.
of the planet, by the way.
Yeah.
Like he was like,
You can
I know
say
the
yes
world
and
might
then
be such
renege
a little
later.
black hole, but like that's my Saturday and my Sunday. It's like,
Yeah.
really? Like it's that bad? I was like, bro,
Yeah.
like come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
um,
wild.
yeah, I Jimmy is definitely one of those characters I would really like to see more of in the future. There's rumors that James Gunn is considering making several different spin-offs from this movie, one being a Mr. Terrific project, another being a Jimmy Olsen project. And people immediately, with tourists, immediately like, what is a Jimmy Olsen show going to be about? Literally, the answer is whatever the heck they want it to be about.
Yes.
The Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen comics are bananas. If you didn't know, the my Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen is actually the comic where Darkseid originated from.
Excuse you?
I'm not joking. Darkseid was just the villain of the week character in a Jimmy Olsen comic back in the '60s.
So what you're telling me is Jimmy Olsen is the key to the universe.
Yes, like unironically, any given issue, him just doing literally anything. Like he has like random shape shifting powers. He has like cosmic powers, duplication powers.
Wait,
Like,
wait, whoa, 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 whoa. What? When was this? Where was
it's kind of implied
I?
that no individual issue was actually canon, but he can kind of like, depending on what's happening in the story, he can just kind of do whatever.
Jimmy just has interdimensional feet. So is Jimmy like has these interdimensional feats now? We're just now talking about this?
Yes. Just, it's a point where he can just take on Darkseid just because.
That's insane.
Yes. So yeah, the Jimmy Olsen show can be about literally anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Like and during that show I would like for him to actually establish his friendship with Superman. That'd be nice. Um but but yeah, definitely Mr. Terrific absolutely needs more stuff about for him in the future, an entire show or a movie, like whatever. Um, like I said, I'm super excited for Supergirl next summer. Um, I'm just they're officially fast tracking the Wonder Woman movie. James Gunn said he's expected to read two different Batman scripts this year. He's already read the Batman Part Two, and if they, I guess they're still planning on having another Batman. I guess so. You know, which I guess that would be the universe that the Clayface movie is going to be a part of. That's still happening.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, and then Lanterns next year, which I assume Guy Gardner will also show up in that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
My guy.
I think DC is in a pretty good place right right now. Like,
No.
I think the Superman movie could have been a little better, but it definitely wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I mean it was one of those movies that like it. I think it was a very solid start. I don't think it's like perfect. I think there's a lot of things they could have, well, not a lot, but I think there's a good amount they could have added. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of growth because I really like the most important thing is how they wrote the characters.
Yes.
Because, the next story is going to have an entirely different plot, yada, yada, yada. And I feel like the characters are written really well. Superman feels like Superman. Lex
Yes.
Luthor really feels like Lex Luthor. Like, it really feels like they're doing this right. And yeah, there's going to be some corny, cheesy moments. There's going to be a lot of random slow-mo or whatever, but it was done well. It was done really well. I enjoyed it. I felt like I could really see this Superman in years to come. I definitely want to see this Lex in everything. He's so that is Lex Luthor. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best performance. Was definitely Lex Luthor by a long,
Absolutely.
by a pretty
Just
long.
that visual of him just pacing around that table of the government officials, just commanding the scene, that was so
good. Yes, and and it's and again, it's you always, it's the whole the when he said you think I did this for the country? No, I started a war so I could kill you. I was like, yes, thank you. That is exactly that is exactly right. It's just like that Justice League scene. He was like, yeah, no, I spent $75 million to fake running for president just to tick Superman off. That is, I am here for that level of pettiness. That is what I want to see from Lex Luthor. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely want more out of this universe. I also think a second Superman movie would have the benefit of not having to go at a breakneck pace because we don't need to set up stuff. We already covered a lot of ground. We just get in. What's happening. Just go. So
yes, and I love that.
Yeah, hopefully by 2028 we'll get a sequel to this. Hopefully before then, but
probably.
Yeah.
No, that's the how do you know how it's doing in the box office so far?
The box office is doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah, technically it kind of technically is the best performing opening weekend of a Superman movie of all time. Kind of technically.
Okay.
Because the way tracking box office was done back in 2013 was a little different than how it's done now. This movie had some pre-screenings on a random Tuesday, and then Thursday's numbers weren't counted back in 2013 because movies decided to actually release on Fridays back then. But because it opened in other markets on Thursday, it was a little weird. Depending on how you count, this movie is technically doing a little better than Man of Steel was back then, but not enough to beat the adjusted for inflation or not so much better that it's they rebooted the whole universe just to do a little better than Man of Steel. What's even the point? It's doing fine. I think it's doing as well as Warner Brothers could have hoped. Maybe not their wildest expectations, but pretty good. To the point where a couple of days after, James Gunn released a teaser poster for Supergirl. They announced that they're fast tracking Wonder Woman. David Zaslav, who I hate, but still he's the owner of WB, released a statement being we're happy with the success of this movie, and looking forward to Supergirl, Lanterns, Clayface, and other DC stuff in the future. And because all of that happened, I've seen weirdos online being "Oh, Warner Brothers is desperate. They're trying to they're trying to obfuscate the fact that that Superman movie is actually tanking. So they're trying to they're trying to like promote stuff that's happening in the future to get away from them. Like, no, they feel confident promoting that stuff because this movie is doing pretty good. So we'll see how it ends up. Totally, the way it's going right now is probably not going to break $1 billion. But like, kind of like as it got closer, I was like less and less confident that it would. But also at this point, even Jurassic World might not do it. It just kind of depends on um, how like it just depends on a couple of different things. Um, but I think it's still gonna do pretty good. So we'll see.
And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't have to break $1 billion. It just has to be good, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, like it's currently tracking about as well as the Batman did back in 2022, and that ended up being like 750 ish. So if it crosses 700, it doesn't like have to in order to be successful. But if it does cross 700, I would be very happy with that. So yeah, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, I'm happy with what we got. I feel like it's definitely enough to keep this going, so I think we're gonna be just fine.
Yeah. Okay. Moving over completely from DC over to Marvel stuff. We both finally finished the Ironheart show that released on Disney Plus back in June. And unlike Superman, we were not anticipating this at all. In fact, we forgot it was coming out until a week before it dropped. And it's like, oh, we're releasing 3 episodes at a time, 2 weeks, you're done. I'm like, okay, I guess that's happening. So, what are your thoughts about it?
It was better than I thought it was going to be. Granted, that was not saying a lot because I expected very little. I do keep my initial thoughts that I feel like this should have been before. Like, we should have done this before we had it. They just threw her into Black Panther. Like, this would have been a just fine origin story, in my opinion, because nothing really changed.
She like mentioned her internship in Wakanda once.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's kind of it. Yeah, it was like for a throwaway joke, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like I know they probably originally didn't plan it that way, or maybe some things changed. They were forced to change, but like it very much felt like this was supposed to be first, and then we were gonna get like her involvement in Black Panther stuff. But regardless, it's fine. I think it did pretty good though. I mean, I liked how it kind of started one way and then episode like 3 or 4 took it a hard right turn. I was like, oh
yeah,
okay. I
didn't
see any of this coming.
I was again like not expecting anything out of this. I wasn't expecting it to be nearly as magic heavy as it ended up being. Like, that's cool.
Like hard right turn. I was like, oh, what are you talking about?
The point where they mentioned Dormammu at one point, like,
like what?
Throwing out Dormammu as a red herring, like that's crazy. Okay.
What is that? No, I mean literally and I love it because I was like, ooh, I love Cree Summer. She's good in everything. Wait, what?
Right? I feel so embarrassed. It took me until the second time she showed up to realize it was Cree Summer. Because the first time she showed up, I was like, her voice sounds familiar, but I can't quite like place it. I'll figure it out later.
Right.
And later, it was like, oh, that's like she wasn't animated, so I didn't know who it was. Weirdly enough.
She wasn't animated, so I couldn't tell it was her. It's so funny. But it was it was going good, and then it was just like, oh wow, okay, we're doing magic now. But then you get magic in the suit, and like she does like a magic defense spell or something at one point, and then like never really does anything with magic ever again, which is kind of eh. Also, I know this is skipping to the end, but there's no way you take that deal.
you don't take that deal without asking any follow-up questions. He keeps saying, Mephisto keeps saying, "Oh, I won't take anything you won't miss."
Yes, you will.
Ask any follow-up question.
No, but it's like, you're literally having a slice of pizza with basically the devil, and you're like, yeah, it might be a good deal. It's like, we just did this. We just had this entire thing. You're literally not 5 minutes ago in the other room. We're telling the person, this isn't what you wanted. This isn't good. This is bad for you. And then you're like, what happened to me though? This is literally the evil equivalent of a goon watching Batman beat the mess out of your buddy and then being like, that's crazy. But put them hands
He hasn't fought me yet. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, no, yeah, like, I'm a new person. You don't know. You ain't fought me before. Yeah. It's like, no, you're not him either. Like,
and I think the craziest part about the deal really makes specifically is that she was under the impression that he was just going to give her AI back, not Natalie the person, which is
even
crazy.
Worse of a deal. You were really gonna sell your soul for a chat GPT, bro. Like, right. Come on, man. Come
on. How are we getting Mephisto into this show? Not in WandaVision, not in Loki, not in Agatha, not in Spider-Man, No Way Home. The movie is based on a comic that Mephisto was actually
the show that everybody's gonna skip. Mephisto. I feel like they did that just so people were like, I have to watch this now because I have to get this character. This very, very important Marvel villain that we're just gonna squeeze into the most random of Disney Plus shows. That's like putting Galactus in Echo. It's just
someone walking in the asking for like, oh yeah, like Galactus is actually in this other thing. Like, no, he wasn't. Like, did you watch Echo? No one watched Echo. What are you talking about?
The people in it didn't even know that. There's no way.
That's very funny.
No, like, insane to me. I will say though, I did like the guy who played Mephisto. He did really well. He seemed very like
Mephisto,
obviously evil, but in a charming way.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen. He actually did a very good job. Yeah, yeah. Which is funny because, like, the actor is normally known for Borat and other like very comedic roles. Like he played that character very, very well.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah, I also really liked the Hood. I think he had this presence to him. Like I wish he actually wore the hood up more, like a little more. But regardless, like I think his whole deal was very good. I like his magic guns with magic bullets. I really like the imagery of the Mephisto curse, like taking over his body. So he tattoos over it to cover. That's very cool. How do you feel about Ezekiel Stane?
It's fine. Originally it kind of felt like a pull just to give something relevant to the MCU because we kind of forgot what was happening there. But then it became he's like a super controlled Terminator, which I don't really know how they did that. I don't really understand.
He already had a bunch of technology inside of him anyway.
Yeah,
I guess they just had resources to make him super. I don't really know.
Right? Like they didn't really, because like that wasn't like it was weird to me because it was like I thought that like first of all I thought that was like the hacker person was more about like hacking than like cybertronics enhancements.
Yeah.
If anything, that would have maybe been Reese's area, but probably still not. So I was kind of like, okay, so how are you doing this? And also, it kind of felt like it was very like, just because we need another person with power. I don't know. It felt very...
Yeah. His inclusion for this entire show really felt like the classic, 6, 8 episode superhero show thing where you have two ideas that you want to do. You don't know if you're going to get a second season, so you kind of smush them together, and they don't really mesh very well. Like, they absolutely at one point wanted Ezekiel Satan to be the main villain of the show, but they also really liked the magical aspect, so they had the Hood be the villain. So then, like, oh, we still like this idea for Zeke Stain over here, so as it connects to Iron Man's past, which really is, Iron Man pastiche, so might as well use that here. So we'll just, kind of make them, we'll kind of put them together, and that kind of caused Ezekiel Stain's whole thing to kind of be a little muted by the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It kind of, I don't know. It was kind of a random, but again, that and also kind of the ending again felt very classic. And we'll get there.
We'll get there. I have some other stuff I want to say first. Actually, some positive stuff, but real quick, I just want to wrap up my thoughts about Ezekiel. I wish he did more than just lightning fingers. Yeah. Like, he has all this technology inside of him. Riri scans him. He is decked out, and he just does lightning fingers.
One super jump.
He doesn't have an arm cannon. He doesn't have the kind of sonic blasts or laser vision or anything else. He can't really fly. He just lightning fingers. So that's a little boring, especially since we know for a fact Iron Man suits have the ability to absorb lightning. I know hers isn't as advanced as Tony's, but I feel like that shouldn't really be a major problem for her, but it was. But oh well.
Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. I don't know. There was some it was stuff that was okay, I kind of see this is kind of cool. And then there was stuff I was kind of nah, this doesn't I like that the idea of her AI, her Jarvis is gonna be the AI of her former best friend / sister. I'm not sure what they're exactly that would have been a really cool touch to going forward. That would have been pretty cool. I think that would have been a nice thing to establish. And it'd be oh, you named your AI Natalie. What does that stand for? No, it's actually Natalie. It's oh, that's wild.
It's just Natalie. But very funny thing that I don't think they meant to do this, but towards the beginning of episode 1, they mentioned that Natalie and her, was it Natalie's dad or Riri's dad? Someone's dad.
I think it was Natalie's real dad, and I think it was Riri's stepdad. I think that because I think they're stepsisters technically.
But wasn't Riri's love interest guy? Wasn't he Natalie's sister or wasn't
dude? I don't.
His brother.
It was
because I guess it's not the
also
whatever.
Felt very unnecessary, but
yeah. They mentioned that Natalie and the father person, they mentioned after they it's been 5 years since they were gone. I was under the impression that because this show was shot in 2022, 23, it was shot a couple years ago, around the time when Thanos stuff was still kind of relevant in the MCU. I was thinking, oh, they both got snapped, and because it's been 5 years, people have just kind of moved on. Maybe they're from some other city, and because of the stuff that happened in the snap, they had to move to a different city, and they just kind of got separated and just kind of haven't been reconnected. And that was primed even further with that guy on the street preaching about the fact basically one of the street preachers talking about how Thanos isn't the first, it won't be the last time something like this, the rapture is coming, that kind of thing. You mentioned Thanos by name, I thought it was priming us to remember Thanos 5 years. I thought that was relevant, and then the end of the first episode, it just kind of or at some point in episode 1 or 2, it cut to an actual flashback of, oh no, it was just a drive-by shooting is what killed them. Like that. Oh, okay, that's less interesting than what I was thinking they were going for, but whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it was supposed to give it more like real drama, I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's also an AI having PTSD is like, huh? But
Well, the AI was definitely a melding of Riri and Natalie's like consciousnesses came together. So
yeah.
it's really Riri's gun PTSD, like basically infecting the AI, I guess.
Okay, I guess that makes more sense. Kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, I really liked Riri and Natalie's banter throughout the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
I really like when Natalie was controlling the suit. That just makes sense. Um, I really liked all of the Hood's little posse. I thought all of them were very entertaining.
Yeah, they were. It was like that was one of the most refreshing, like random ragtag teams that looked. They all looked interesting. They all had their kind of roles. None of them were
Mm-hmm.
like too like different. Like they all kind of, they all kind of had their thing, and they
Yeah.
felt like a good team. They had good banter. They were funny,
Mm-hmm.
and they had cool names. So yeah, I
Yeah.
thought the team was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, I also did like some of the scene, like especially earlier on. I liked oh gosh, what is the Hood guy? What is his name?
The Hood.
Yeah, but like, what is his like real name? What were they called? I forgot.
Uh,
It was like I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, the
just call him
Hood.
the
I
Hood. The
liked.
Hood. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, the Hood. I liked it. I liked it. I think he did a really good job. I feel like he was very like kind of like what Mephisto was like, kind of like in like intimidating, but in like a charming way,
Mm-hmm.
especially earlier on. Obviously, as like it went on, it went kind of like but
Yeah. I like the fact that whenever he confronted the CEOs that he was taking over, like he presented with a contract, which also kind
mm,
of primed you to be thinking about the devil, signing contracts. But like that just kind of,
right,
like, I don't know if
making
he
a
got
deal.
that idea from Mephisto, but it was definitely an allusion to that.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. He actually makes them sign contracts they can like read, but
Mm,
his contract with Vista was just implied. I think that's an
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
thought.
mm, um, yeah. Like I, it's one of those things where I'm watching the show, and every single episode, I'm digging it. I'm liking every character. I'm liking the plot beats. I think every single thing is working flawlessly, more or less. By episode, like the end of episode 5, I literally turned to my roommate. It's like, okay, they have one more. Time to see if they'll stick the landing or flounder at the end. And guess what happened? They can't not do that. Every single show that's not called Loki and kind of Agatha, like, just somehow
Every
squander their ending.
just in a way that's so like rushed, but not enough time at the same time. Again,
Yeah, like the big climax, the big fight between Riri's, final robot suit and the Hood is just like a couple of minutes. It's just very anticlimactic.
and it's kind of a lame fight.
Kind of, yeah. And then she signs the contract, and then it cuts to her hugging Natalie. The curse like covers her hand. Show over. We don't need to see what happens next. Just like, wait a minute. Yes, we do. We really want to see that.
And the worst part is,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be like 3-4 years before we even see this character again. So we
So
have no idea.
I have a crazy theory. I think because the show was originally filmed back in 2022, I think that since based on how the original slate of Marvel movies was going at the time, I genuinely think that the original plan was for Riri to be a Kang variant.
Wait, what?
Just so the original plan for Avengers 5 was to be, the Kang dynasty
Yeah.
and like have, Kangs in all different universes do whatever. And I genuinely think that the the person in the main continuity of the Marvel comics who who eventually is the ancestor of Kang is one of the Iron Lads who I don't know exactly his name, but an Iron Lad in Marvel is who eventually is an ancestor of Kang. So I don't think it would be that big of a stretch to say, oh, instead of Iron Lad, we're doing Ironheart as the ancestor to Kang, especially since we got a black actor to play Kang. Ironheart's a black girl. I think that's an easy switch. Not to mention, Kang is very much a user of both technology and like kind of magic to an extent. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that she is you know is now using both technology and magic together. The Young Avengers were at least originally going to be heavily involved in the Kang Dynasty, and if Riri were on the Young Avengers, and then her being revealed to be a Kang, a Kang variant, or at least supposed to be a Kang variant, that could, um, I don't know. Honestly, to an extent, I'm kind of glad they didn't really go with with Kang stuff because I feel like there's not. I don't really know like what all like as far as like interesting stuff you can do with that in the NCU, but like whatever. But like if that is what they're going with, I do feel like that could. It was filmed early enough that I feel if that is the direction that they were originally planning, that they could go with that direction or pivot if they need to. So it could be a crazy theory, but that's just kind of where my head was at when like we saw in the background of that last scene her final suit with the hood over it. It just felt more sinister than you know than just especially with her having that curse and like maybe delving more into more dark magic stuff. I could just kind of see her eventually like actually be going full on villain. Maybe.
Okay. I mean, that would have been a crazy twist. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and they still could do that. Like it still could be something crazy, but
Eh,
um, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like her character is not at all is not going to show up in in Doomsday.
in
Maybe
anything
Secret
for
Wars.
years,
Like there's
maybe,
still
but like probably not.
yeah, like there's still rumors of a Young Avengers thing happening at some point, but
That's probably it.
like we're it's getting to the point where they're not really going to be young anymore by the time it comes out. So um, yeah, I I feel almost the exact same way towards this show that I do towards Creature Commandos. When I was watching Creature Commandos, I liked every single character, every single episode. I thought ended very, very strongly. Just I was digging the plot a lot, and then by the time you got to the last episode, it felt like they were just rushing, and then it ends, and then you just kind of feel unsatisfied by it, and that's
Yeah,
kind of how I feel towards this show.
yeah. I think though the difference is that at least Creature Commandos, I feel like they're gonna have more relatively soon, and there's
Yes.
a natural next step. Whereas here, I'm like, it's gonna be years before we see Riri again, and assuming she's just gonna have this curse for years now. I mean, what's that gonna do to her? Like, we don't really know how long that the Hood was under Mephisto's whole curse influence. So, I mean, is it gonna be a couple months before she goes crazy? A couple weeks? Like, who knows?
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't even feel as overly negative towards it if it did just end with Riri hugging Natalie and then the curse. Like that's at least interesting. Like if she does show up again, like that'll be something that we that we will actively deal with. But then there was that after credit scene of the guy who had the hood showing up at that magic candy shop,
Yeah.
and then being like, "Give me the good magic stuff," and then his character is never coming back. Why did that
No,
scene need to exist?
I don't know. I don't know. I think
At least we
maybe
really got a
they're
chance
like,
of coming back.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're still waiting on so much other stuff. I mean, after credit scenes from Disney Plus shows essentially are not even canon at this point. So let's be real.
Yeah, yeah. Like at least Creature Commandos season 2 was already greenlit before the show was even done.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this show, it was shelved for 2 years on the first place. So, and I think they only released it now because Mephisto might show up in the next Spider-Man thing. There's rumors of that. The storyline that movie is supposedly based on has Mephisto involved in it. Um, like, and Riri could still be a major player in future stuff. Maybe Ezekiel Stain comes back in something. I don't, because they didn't kill him. At least they did that. Like he still could return later. However, I think a cool thing they could have done with Ezekiel is if they just ended it with him in prison. Like you don't involve him anymore after that. Like maybe the Hood, speaks to him in prison and just like asks if he knows any way of of how to deal with Riri, and maybe they bring cahoots that way. But like he doesn't break the Hood out of jail. But then I feel it would have been cool if like the after credit scene would be Mephisto showing up to Ezekiel in jail and was the thing you want most in life. He's like getting revenge on Riri, cut to black. I think that would have been more interesting. And he would have a. I think that character is more likely to come back. Whereas right now, yes, Ezekiel Stain is likely to come back, but at this point, him and Riri are like not on the worst terms, so it's not really going to feel that significant if he does return. If he does return.
If
Yeah.
he does return,
Yeah.
which he should, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely recommend the show, which is not something I thought I would say going in. Like, I think it actually does. Like, 90+% of the show, I think, is very solid. I just wish the last episode didn't make me feel like the show wanted there to be more show, and it just kind of stopped.
Do you think they did that on purpose to kind of see if they could leverage the studio to get a season 2?
Maybe.
Right? Because like that, like because it very much ends on a cliffhanger,
Mm,
and it kind of just like if you were only planning to get 6 episodes and that's it, you obviously don't do that.
yeah.
So it's like I feel like they're just doing that because they're like, maybe if enough people like it and we end on a cliffhanger, we can kind of be like, well, now we got to do a second season, right?
But then Disney screwed them over by having, it released for 2 weeks with 3 episode
Right.
chunks, so there wasn't really time for the show to evolve. Because I do genuinely think that if they did it, the first 2 episodes, and then 1 week from there, I really do think that it could have actually built a pretty decent audience. But you know, they just can't
Yeah.
do that. But oh well. Um, yeah, I hope the important stuff from this show is actually important in future MCU stuff. Um, I, but at least as of right now, like any positives I do have about it are kind of negated by the fact that the ending itself didn't feel super confident, and I don't know when any of this is going to matter in the future. So I don't really care as much as I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, but oh well.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about the show?
Um, I mean, solid overall. I didn't regret watching it. I think they all did a great job. But yeah, just I don't know. I guess I just feel sad because I feel like we're not going to get any follow up, or if we do, it's going to be so much later. It's going to be like, who cares?
Yeah, which
Essentially,
I will say, kudos to this show for like actually making me kind of want to follow up to a show I didn't think I needed in the first place. So that's at
exactly.
least, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good sign. But also, you kind of forced me to want to follow because it's like you hit on such a hard cliffhanger, and if this character is going to be, in anything else, it's going to have to be addressed.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else you want to say or talk about before we sign off today?
I don't know. Fantastic Four is on its way.
And 2 Fridays from now. Yep. That's looking good. That's looking really good. Yeah. I know I was more excited for Superman, but like at this point, I think Fantastic Four has a chance of actually being a better movie. Not that Superman was bad, but like just everything I've seen
Could
from
be even better,
Fantastic Four
yeah.
just looks very solid. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care.